What episode is it?
Episode 7.
No, really.
Yeah.
7?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm excited.
Episode 7. We are here.
And queer.
My God.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. You know you always got to do this.
Yeah, make sure that it's right. First of all, can you pass the bottle?
Oh yes. Let's let you do the foolery.
You know, if we're gonna,
First, I want to say what this is. So why this is special.
This is a bottle of Kendall Jackson.
Put it to the camera. I want to talk about it for a moment.
Kendall Jackson.
All right. So Kendall.
Sponsor us.
Yeah, don't do the opening yet. I want to just say something.
Okay.
So Kendall Jackson, Married to Medicine, which is a reality show on Bravo.
I did not.
We have not talked about it, but we will.
Sure.
Married to Medicine with Toya and Quad.
Oh, this is the black lady who said some wild shit.
Oh, look at you knowing reality TV.
I read.
Read what?
The news. I read.
Oh, that's
news.
good, but this is not news.
No, but it was in the news. That's how I found it. So I read the news every morning, and so if it's big enough, I guess I will. And it comes to front page.
You heard about Dr. Jackie, who said something about
something about black women and complaining in the delivery
not believing
room
black women and black women doing She said that black women have faked for her and all type of foolishness.
Sure.
Well, Dr. Jackie's co-star, because it's Married to Medicine, I think I've said this before, but for the audience who've never seen it.
Why can't I open it yet?
Because I want to tell the people what the Kendall Jackson is. You fine. You're fine. Settle down. Married to Medicine.
We've got a spicier Oko. We have an audience in the building. So Oko's got a little bit more stank on him this afternoon. This
the
evening.
Real Oko is here today, honey.
Yeah.
I got my friends, so buckle up, bitches.
A little bit more stank on him today.
The dead has risen. So Kendall Jackson, Toya, who's a castmate of Dr. Jackie, just had a whole episode where she's partnering with Kendall Jackson. I don't know what she's doing, but she's calling herself a winemaker. So they spent a whole episode in the winery, eating, fighting each other. They actually, in this episode at Kendall Jackson Winery, is where they told Quad, for you Married to Medicine fans, is where they told Quad to go home. So the people outside who's listening, they know what I'm talking about. So when I saw this in Trader Joe's, all I could think about was, look at God. Kendall Jackson. Look at him. And I picked it. And drink. Open.
What a tale.
What a story.
What a story. For the ASMR girlies.
Okay, here we go.
That's that good
Don't
stuff.
put your mouth on that bottle.
That's that good stuff.
You don't lost your mind.
I wasn't going to put...
I don't want your spit.
Oh, man. All right. I'll go with an audience. This is going to be an interesting episode. I'm ready. I'm prepared.
Lord.
Yeah, spicier. I like our red cups.
I think you've given the spicy. They just didn't really see it.
I'm not spicy.
Oh.
Me?
We've never had a spicy episode with you?
I'm not
Is that what
spicy.
we're doing? Are we not telling the truth today?
I'm not spicy? I don't think anyone has ever used that word to describe me.
Okay. All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Good to see you.
Episode 7. Good to see you.
Do I like it?
I've been a server for, I spent many years as a server and a bartender, so Kendall Jackson is
Oh, so you know Kendall.
I do know Kendall.
Child.
Oh, I do know Kendall. This is suburban white women's go-to glass of Chardonnay.
Child.
Oh, yeah. 60,000 a year. Suburban white picket fence. Husband makes a little bit more money. This is what these bitches drink.
How much does it charge? How much does it cost a glass?
A glass?
Yeah, at
Kendall
your
Jackson?
old restaurant.
Probably be $10, $11. That's about the wine markup. Most restaurants make their money in booze sales.
Oh.
That's where, it's not really in the food. The overhead is in the alcohol.
Right.
Because, if you're using, well liquor, a cocktail might cost you, $2 to make, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Bottomless mimosas. Okay. Bottomless mimosas might cost, $25. And that's a pretty well-priced bottomless mimosa, right? So for $25, you can drink all you want for 2 hours. Now, most people can't drink more than a bottle of champagne. And you can already buy a bottle of champagne at the grocery store for like, $6.
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah, this wasn't that much.
When you buy it in bulk for like restaurant sales, you're getting them for like $2, $1.75 a bottle because you bought 300 bottles.
Right.
So now every bottomless mimosa sale is realistically only going to cost you like $3 and a little bit of orange juice.
Okay.
And most people aren't going to drink a whole bottle. Some people can drink 2. Some people can drink 3. But like that's like $9. and so like your $25 bottle of samosa and you have to eat to do it. Like,
what would you like pair Chardonnay with?
Huh?
What were you, if you were cooking, what would you make, like specifically to have a glass of Chardonnay with?
Chardonnay's a little bit buttery, so maybe like a chicken or like
jerk chicken?
No.
Oh.
Well, maybe. Yeah, I guess if I was gonna have
what type of chicken you was talking about?
If I was gonna have a white wine with this was a man calling me that I'm not picking up his phone call. That's actually what that was.
That was gonna be my look, I have a question about it.
We'll
go there.
That's what that was. But if you were gonna go like with a white wine for like a jerk chicken, it would be Chardonnay or maybe like champagne. Would also probably pair pretty well. Something like bubbly, and that would be nice too.
Got it. So thank you, Kendall. You hear me like he done sponsored us. Kendall, I don't know you, nigga.
Thanks, Kendall.
I don't even know you, but thank you. This is good. Thank you, Toya. That's what I'm really saying. Thank you, Married to Medicine.
So wait,
for the people.
We're because the woman who said whatever it was she said, I don't think I agreed with.
No, I did not agree with her either.
Oh, okay. The person who made this is not in connection with that woman.
She's her castmate.
But not her.
No, not her.
Oh, okay,
Toya is the one who did
I was just making sure it wasn't
her. That's
her.
Dr. Jackie Walters.
I don't know. Yeah, she seems problematic.
She's not problematic, but you know what? The truth always comes out eventually, honey.
Well, she seems problematic. So
she hasn't, from what she's given the audience, she's never really been problematic. She's just been a very good doctor. She's the doctor. She's OBGYN to Tamar and Candy. She's like got all the girls in Atlanta. So this is the first time where you can see where people are like saying, ooh, Dr. Jackie isn't who she says she is on camera.
Interesting.
So it's interesting that you said that because there is a connection.
Let's move to whatever it was that you talked
Let's go forth.
That I just brought up that you thought, though the man called me. What were you talking about?
Yes, I was going to ask you. I mean, perfect. If your ex called.
Yeah. Oof. Which one? That's the question.
Well.
The most recent one? Or the longest one? The first one?
The first one you ever had?
There's been a few. There's been a couple.
Pick one. If your ex called, are you answering? Well, you just answered. You didn't. Was that your ex?
No.
Okay. But if your ex called, if the one that I know that I'm not talking about that last one, but if the one that I knew of that you had a long time,
the longer one,
if he was to call today, what would you do?
I'd probably pick up because I probably would assume something was wrong, and that maybe I needed to try. I don't know. I probably pick up.
Or that he wanted a cuddle buddy.
That I mean, if that's what he said, I don't know. I don't know if that's what I would do, but I would pick up probably out of concern because you could probably call someone else.
Because you haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah, so why are you calling me?
Got it.
What about you? Well, you don't really have that many proper exes. I don't really have too many
exes, and I don't pick up for... There are people who I won't pick up.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who I'm not talking to again.
Oh, yeah, you're not picking up that ex that I know about?
Absolutely not. Don't have my number.
No.
I would look at it and turn it right off.
Because he probably still has your number.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not exes.
Do you think he's watching the show?
Who?
The ex that...
You know what? I don't know if he's watching the show. I don't think so.
No.
But there's some people that I ain't picking up their telephone watching the show. Hi. How you doing? Don't call. Because I'm not answering.
I wonder if there's anyone who's watching this show whose number I wouldn't pick up.
Oh, definitely me. Yeah, I would not.
Probably.
Got some people.
I don't know. I don't know who's watching the show. I have absolutely no clue.
All right. The Color Purple
is out.
The Color Purple is out. We're going to talk about it in the upcoming episode.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about the opening day. Because Fantasia.
Miss Barrino,
Miss American Idol.
Yes. I don't really think of her as Miss American Idol.
Because you didn't watch.
No, I think it goes to like Kelly Clarkson, maybe.
What?
That's like Miss American Idol.
Because she's first?
Yeah, and like that's like the thing that she did and that made her big, and now she's very big, and that's what she did.
Have Kelly sold more records than Fantasia?
Probably.
That could be a stretch.
I don't know.
I mean, because Fanny, she done sold some records.
Yeah, but Kelly Clarkson has like a couple like big songs.
She had big songs. I said records. Like, have she sold? Like, I wonder who sold most like more albums.
I would assume that it's Kelly Clarkson.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't. When I think of
because A, she came out first. B, she sells to like a white girl audience, and that's like a very big audience. That's the Taylor Swift audience. She sells to like a very similar audience. And Kelly Clarkson actually has a bunch of black fans. I like Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, now she ain't her black fans ain't outweighing Fantasia's black fans.
No, but Fantasia really only has black fans, which is
I
a
don't know
smaller
about
percentage
that.
of the. I do.
You don't think white people listen to
Do y'all
Fantasia?
listen to Fantasia?
Yeah.
Hannah, you listen to Fantasia?
Hannah don't listen to Fantasia. Tiffany don't listen to Fantasia.
Yeah, I'm like, everybody don't listen to Fantasia. So I just mean like, do y'all listen to Kelly Clarkson?
No, that's 3 no's.
That's 3 no's.
Yeah.
Okay. But you listen to Kelly Clarkson?
Listen, I just said to you guys the other day. I mean, she is my favorite white girl artist. I like when she go R&B, and I don't usually like when white girls go R&B.
Like Kelly Clarkson,
but I actually like her. I prefer her more than I do she who shall not be named, Miss Hello.
Adele?
Yeah.
She shouldn't be named?
I don't want to talk about Adele today.
Okay.
Another time.
Oh, that was very specific.
Back to The Color Purple.
Okay. What happened to I really want to know about Adele now.
Back to The Color Purple. We giving niggas accolades today. We're not talking about Adele. Hello. All right. So The Color Purple had the biggest.
Hello from the outside. I like Adele. Adele's a good time.
Okay.
Yeah. She's fun.
Her and the Bantu Knots?
She took him out. And she said she shouldn't have put him in.
Okay.
That's a responsible. I can get down with that response.
But who did him?
Somebody
what
for
were
money.
They doing?
Somebody. It was probably a black girl.
Okay.
She probably. I know an Adele. She probably wouldn't pay no white girl to do the Bantu knots. That would be scandalous.
The Color Purple
had
a very big day on Monday. I was there at 10:30 in the morning. Okay. I had coffee and literally met a friend there in Baldwin Hills. And when I tell you the people were out in their purple and their pajamas and they matching, I ain't never seen so many matching holiday sets.
That's funny.
And I mean, like, no lie, generational. Grandma bent over, the toddler.
Well, that's cute.
The son and the boyfriend and the wife, all of them just there walking in, ready to go and see The Color Purple.
I really appreciate like moments like that where like I went ice skating on Christmas.
Yeah.
And there was just like so many adults and like adults of color. Like I think of ice skating as a white thing, but it was a bunch of like blacks and Latinos in downtown Los Angeles skiing around the thing, and everyone just had like this like youthful like giddy, childish expression. And I was like, this is so cool. You never really see adults like this because the joke is that no one actually knows how to fucking ice skate.
You mean no one blacks know how to ice skate?
No one knows how to ice skate.
Nobody.
No one. I think the only people who do are white people. But this is interesting because it was just a bunch of minorities.
And they were ice skating.
And everyone was ice skating. Everyone came to go ice skating on Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day. And it was like, so it was just very like smiley and very like friendly. So when you say like, you know, like also on Christmas Day, like, you know, just like, you know, grandma through like baby all in the same matching set.
It was incredible.
Like it's really like
it was
cool.
really incredible
it's fun to see youthful.
And it was good to be in a theater. You and I have been to Baldwin Hills together to see Black Panther. But this one was a little more rowdier. They was talking back because we all have opinions about The Color Purple. A lot of us. We could be a stretch. You don't.
I don't.
And it was some scenes where it like ignited some opinions that were a little shocking, where me and my friend Joseph was like, oof. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So back to the numbers, because I just think it's interesting. So this is the biggest Christmas opening in one day. They made 18 million.
Get paid.
Y'all better get that money. And it's the biggest.
Whoop. That's fine.
Oh, it's the biggest.
That's fine. That's what I'm trying to clap.
It's the biggest. Okay, good.
Clap. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Oprah, get your bag up. I guess, you know. More.
As you sit there with Splatter, you talking to Oprah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oprah, the show will go on. You know, what am I going to do?
Speaking of Oprah, you know, we talk about Oprah a lot. But Oprah, I really think is like a master at marketing. Oprah have not took off purple in the last 6 months. I said, Oprah, if you don't take off that damn purple, I'm going to color black.
That's funny.
She have not took off purple. She was on every single show. Oprah did a very good clip. They have a very viral clip interview on Vanity Fair where they're all asking each other their favorite things. And it's Taraji and Danielle Brooks and Coleman Domingo.
Tiffany, are you getting any video of
Oprah,
us?
Jesus, don't make me cuss today. I don't want to. I really don't want to. Not in front of company. I really don't want to, Lord. So the diversity demo, like numbers were kind of interesting for the moviegoers. So tell me, like, how many black people, like percentage-wise, you imagine were the moviegoers on the first day of The Color Purple? And then I'll tell you some like real numbers.
Probably about 62.
Look at you knowing your numbers. 65% were black.
There we go.
19% was Caucasian.
You should let me guess the rest.
Oh, okay.
Well,
How many Hispanic percentage-wise you think were there?
Oh, I mean, that's just what's left. 62, 65 plus 19 is, let me see, 85, 84, about like 12.
Hidden figures, you are. You doing your math. Hidden figures, honey. Taraji, this nigga finna get your job, bitch. Come on, figures. Yeah, 11%. And the other, no, it's not other. It says Asian. They say not other, Asian. Bitch. They were 2%. They said we'll go see
anything else.
Saw what is it? Come Again Everywhere Upside Down. What's that movie you like?
Anything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, that's
I'm
it.
sure they're still playing the rerun somewhere.
You know it's still playing.
That movie was so good.
It's still playing. And the largest demo was people over 55, and that was 25%. And I think that makes sense. That makes very much sense.
Yeah, I mean, because The Color Purple is an older story.
That's part. And the original one came out in 1985.
I was -9.
Right. So it would make sense in the sense that
my mama probably ain't see that shit either.
You don't think?
Maybe. How old was Sherry in 89?
How old are your mom? Like 55? She's not 55.
You said 85?
Yeah.
She was 15.
Right.
So maybe.
Yeah, because it was one of those movies that, like, there were younger. I don't really know the demographic of who went to go see The Color Purple in the 80s. But I did think that was
probably
interesting.
Black people.
You want to talk about Kanye?
Yeah, let's talk about Kanye.
All right. So Kanye apologized in Hebrew. Kanye told Google, "Hey Google."
I heard that he apologized. I didn't know it was in Hebrew.
It was in Hebrew. That was the original post on Instagram.
I can imagine like him like it's like,
"Hey Google."
What is it?
"Hey Google, this nigga writing Hebrew for the people."
I was picturing like it's like a Fiverr ad, like translate this to Hebrew for me.
That too.
Kanye is, you know.
So he apologized for his anti-Semitic remarks. I don't know which ones. He said a lot of shit that people have had a problem with. So I did think
Kanye said, wow, I'm really running out of money.
Who? Kanye?
Yeah.
You think he's running out of money?
Not running out of money, but I mean, like, if you spend money like a billionaire, like, if you get that reduced to like a couple $100 million, that is a reduction.
Right.
So if you have been spending money like, you know, you don't know how, or like you're spending money out just like out of control,
right?
Like as you should with $1 billion fucking dollars. That's what I would do. I'd be acting a fool. Don't give me $1 billion.
Right. So he wrote, and this.
What would you do with $1 billion?
What would I do with $1 billion?
Yeah. Can I get a room for free? If you get $1 billion, I just want like one room. It don't even have to be the big one.
I don't want you in my house though.
But maybe like a side room in the back.
I want you far away. I'll buy you something.
In the annex, buy me something.
Yeah, I'll buy you a little
condo, something. You know,
yeah, I don't want
something
you in my
cute.
house.
That's fair.
But now, to be fair, we did begin a friendship with you being right, like near me.
I should
so
be,
I don't want
downstairs.
you in.
I could be
on the
nearby.
outside, sure.
I could be nearby, like something cute and like
I would
little.
do that.
I'm
I would do that.
I'm a simple man.
I would do that.
$1 billion, yeah. Like I'm simple.
Okay.
You know, you gotta plant your seeds. One of my cousins is very so. So my father has a couple sisters. He's like one of like a couple sisters, couple brothers. He's like one of 7, one of 8. And my father. And
why are you saying couple? With that more than a couple?
Well, let me just So my father has siblings.
Okay.
And so one of my cousins, when I was younger, I was like, oh,
You don't want no more wine?
I definitely want more wine.
I'm like, oh, you don't like him? You usually drinking.
I'm a little lit, actually. That's what I think it fucking is.
Well, we have a show, so.
Yeah, it's going to be a time. So one of my cousins, I was like, oh, I like her. And she told me later that I told her when we were very young that I was going to be her favorite cousin.
Oh, I know this cousin.
Yeah, you do.
I really, really like this cousin.
She's great. Mm-hmm. And when we were 4, because she's 6 weeks older than me, when we were 4, I knew. I was like, I rock with this bitch, okay? Her and her mother. I was like, I feel like they got it together. Mine, I don't know if everyone on my side got it the fuck together. Like, they seem to get it together. And they're like my best friend. Like, she's my best friend.
She's a good cousin to you.
Yeah. And like, when I tell you, like, they are so well prepared for life going forward. And I have been there the whole time. I am the unadopted child of my aunts, and I am my cousin's best friend. If I could just keep failing at this art thing. And I'm pretty sure that they'll be successful enough for the 3 of us. Like, I'm included in their tally. Like, you got to have a couple of people to ride up with. Right. Now, mind you, same difference. If I figure this out, and if I figure out the things I'm trying to figure out, maybe they'll be the winners. But right now, like, you gotta pick your choices.
So if you had $1 billion, you would definitely help them out.
Oh, 100%.
I like that.
150%. Nice. All I want to do is like go on tour and employ all my friends. I just want to like have a bunch. I just want to like Kevin Hart has like a big business. And his whole business is like, he has like maybe like 60 employees and they're all paid very well. And Kevin Hart's worth a whole lot of fucking money because it's a whole business moving Kevin Hart and like negotiating and doing his deals and doing his contract and blah, 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 blah. That's all I want to do. And I want like those 60 people. I don't know 60 people, but like, I want like those to be my friends. I want to be like, oh, like, this is my stage manager and they does that and they do this and they do this and whatever. And this is just all my friends and we all do well and we all live nicely and travel around the world. And
all right, let me say awesome. Kanye's apology is short. He says, I sincerely apologize to the Jewish community for any unintended outbursts caused by my words or actions. It was not my intention to hurt or demean, and I deeply regret any pain I may have caused. I'm committed to starting with myself and learning from this experience to ensure greater sensitivity and understanding in the future. Your forgiveness is important to me, and I am committed to making amends and promoting unity.
Signed, Kanye's lawyer.
Signed somebody. Kanye didn't write that. I don't think Kanye even that coherent.
No.
Kanye did not write that.
Kanye didn't write that shit.
Somebody told Kanye.
Kanye's lawyer has been saying, let me write the apology. I have the apology written. Let me put it out. Let me put it out. They've been saying every day for the last 80, 90, when he lose them $1 billion.
He ain't lost $1 billion.
No, he lost more than $1 billion. His net worth went from like yes. Kanye's deal fell through and he literally lost like $1 billion or $2 billion. And he went from a net worth of like 1.9 to 2.5 billion to 400 and so million. Yeah, Kanye West fucked up.
Okay.
I mean, you still have more money than you can fucking spend.
You do.
It's just like we just add millions so that we can understand it. Like when we're talking about $400, we just say $400 million. Like we get it. We don't. Kanye West has more money than he can piss the fuck away. But he did lose $1 billion or so dollars.
I'm just bracing myself because...
And he's tight, and a bunch of people who work for Kanye West also lost a bunch of fucking money. And that's his lawyer who works for a commission saying, yes, we're sorry. Give us back our $1 billion.
Only for him next week to be him and Hitler were best friends.
Of course. And a White Lives Matter t-shirt.
Yeah. Hitler and I ate chicken.
Yeah.
With our fingers.
It's now he's out chilling with Kim Jong-un or something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I read this.
You can see it. You can see Kanye with Kim Jong-un right now. You can see him on a flight being like, word.
That's possible.
Yeah,
but that's
giving
possible.
Dennis Rodman 2024.
Nah, I mean, I would eat chicken with Dennis.
Dennis was eating chicken with Kim.
He was.
I don't want to eat chicken with Dennis Rodman.
I like Dennis Rodman.
I've
said to you before that I think that Dennis Rodman is like he has a very important spot in certain conversations. So yeah, we have time for one more conversation.
Okay.
And that is Simone Biles and her husband, Jonathan Owens.
Yes. Interesting.
Have you heard this story?
Okay.
Wait, can I say it, like tell it to the audience though, just to lead it up before you?
Yeah.
But quick. So I will. So Jonathan Owens was on a podcast.
First of all, who is he?
First, that's true.
Who
I
is he?
didn't even know his name.
I'm so sorry. Who is he?
I did not even know his name.
Yeah.
This is my first time ever knowing his name. I didn't even know she was married. I didn't know any of this.
Who is he?
Well, she went on a podcast and is getting backlash because he revealed that he did not know who she was when he matched with her in 2020 on Raya.
A lot of niggas don't read.
But they don't see?
You need to read to know who Simone Biles is.
Can you see?
You need to read to know who she is. She's not a TV star.
But she's a gymnast.
She's not a TV star. So
she's an Olympian.
So you need to read. That's what I'm saying. To know the names of like other Olympians.
But
Michael
on
Phelps
Raya, where you're looking at her face?
Yeah, but like Simone Biles isn't like on the cover of magazines. She's not
been
walking
on some magazines.
She has, but she's like you need to read to know who she is. And a lot of people don't read. So I believe that he didn't know who she was.
You believe that? Okay.
Oh, I do, because he just probably didn't. These athletes, a bunch of athletes don't read. Are you fucking kidding me? My mother used to tutor athletes. Dumb as rocks. They memorize plays.
But he's not.
He is an athlete.
He's a football player.
I'm getting CTE'd and knocked in the head all the fucking time. I could totally believe he didn't know who she was. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of it like that. I don't think I even thought of it personally.
Yeah. You have
I'm
to
just reading his card.
She's not like, you need to know who you're not gonna see her. You really need to if you read just a little bit, you should know who Simone Biles is. But you do need to read a smidge. You need to,
like reading what?
The news headlines. Things that
of
you have
Simone Biles
winning awards, and you're like, oh, like who is she? Like she's a name that pops up in the headlines all the time. She's not a name that comes across your screen. That's not who she is. She comes across your screen once every 4 years. She's not like a screen person.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Versus like screen people.
Well, he went on to say in that podcast that he also thought
that's going to be a funny clip.
What?
I think that's going to be a funny clip. I think that might just work.
He went. Okay.
I was like, huh.
He went also in the podcast and went on to say that he considered himself to be the catch in the relationship. Whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then he went on to say that he, quote, I always say that men are the catch. That's where he messed up. I always say that men are the catch. What are you talking about?
It's giving Hotep.
Hello. Whole food.
You know, that's
not Whole Foods.
That happens.
Whole food.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Simone defended him by posting a picture with him and her on their wedding day.
Hotep.
That's funny. That's funny. That was funny. Him and her on her wedding day saying mood. So she said, bitches, leave my man alone. She said, bitches, leave my man alone. You bitches could never.
There was this comedian.
You hoes got these dumb niggas.
This comedian was like, she got a ring and she was like, oh my God, I have leveled up. She's like, I am above you bitches.
She said, y'all step y'all pussy up. You ain't me.
She said, it's a bunch of single bitches. It's a bunch of single unmarried hoes who's fucking retweeting this bullshit.
That's literally what she's saying.
All you bitches pussies is dry.
Step your pussy up.
That's what she said. That's what she said.
Yeah, Simone said, and
this big nigga is beating it up good. Okay? I have enough money for us.
The size dynamic throws me off because they're like, she's so petite, she's so small. Petite meaning she's also muscular.
Guys are gross and into stuff like that.
But he's so big.
Yeah, that makes complete and total sense.
Having fun with him.
That makes complete and total sense.
And fans on Twitter did not like it. That was the thing. I think more things are the conversation that people are having.
Sure.
So fans on Twitter were very upset because they felt like, first of all, you ain't no catch. How dare you say that you a catch?
No, he's an NFL player. He's definitely like a version. He's a catch to someone. He's a catch to like a more basic bitch than like the most like decorated Olympian of all time.
That part.
But like Simone, he's a catch. Is he cute? Kind of. If he tried to fuck? Probably let him. Yeah, probably. So would you.
And I don't even know what he looked like.
And so Oko can pick out a black person from like
but I've
a
never
mile
seen
and
him.
a half away.
I've never seen him. I do read.
And reading
your
this
point.
and researching this story, you didn't see no picture of her
I
face?
never looked at him. I just read. Yeah. I know her because I know what she looks like, but I don't care about that nigga.
I believe this is not that much.
Oh, because I lie.
I
Okay.
don't believe this.
All right.
Not the way Oko is a gay man and this is a big 6'7" fine man, athlete. And in researching this story, you ain't see no picture of him?
I did not. I read on the Shade Room. I saw their story. All right. Miss Cleo's son. All right.
So we've got a special segment coming up. And
yes, we have a very important segment coming up.
Do some resetting and we'll be
right back.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Okay.
Shoo.
All right. After a little bit of editing magi, turn. Be nice to me. This is fine. After a little editing magic, we're back.
We're back.
All right. And
we got some special guests.
We've got some special guests with us today.
Special guests.
All right. So if you haven't noticed already, they were looking a little different than usual. Our wide shot. We've got a few guests with us today.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Right.
Friends.
Some friends.
Friends.
Yes.
Friends who we really, really like. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for having us. We're so honored.
Yes, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, let's start with on the end.
Sorry.
I'm Laela Omar. This is my sissy. We're Palestinian, half. I like to say that we're the Bella and Gigi Hadid of Salt Lake.
Take that.
The Bella and Gigi of Salt Lake.
That is great.
I'll take some wine.
I took the last.
It's okay.
You're fine.
Do you want to sip?
No, it's okay.
I think there's wine over there.
Is there wine over there?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want the white?
Oh my God! Thank fucking God. Yes, come right in the shot. Chloe.
Yes, Chloe.
It's friends. We have friends in the studio today.
I
It's
love
so
that.
fun.
Thank God.
We only saw at the top of you, like the bottom of you.
Okay. It's a turn up. It's a new year.
Yes. Did Hannah introduce herself?
I feel like Laela has it covered, but I'm Hannah Omar. Yeah, I'm the other half
You want to say
of the
something?
sister combo. Yeah.
Perfect. Joe.
It's
Perfect.
grateful to be here.
We're so glad. Corey had this idea. Really, we were having a conversation. I was talking about you guys, and he was like, we should have him on. And I said, you know what, that's a good idea.
Olga and I have been. We have been wanting to address. Go ahead. Talk to me before we get into that moment.
You want to start light first?
Light, thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's
Light.
good.
Give us light.
Let's go light. Let's
Give
go
us light.
good.
Give us light for now.
All right. So these are two questions that are very light, but I'm interested in all three of you guys answering, and I guess I will too. What song describes your life in this current moment?
Ooh.
And start with, let's go this way. So you're the first, Laela.
That's so hard. Okay, let's see. What do I listen to a lot? I listen to a lot of country music. That's the Utah in me, obviously.
Oh, girl, it must be.
But I don't know. There's a lot. Also, went through a breakup, which I won't talk too much
I
on.
feel like country music is good for breakups.
Jesus, take the wheel.
I feel like I don't
Jesus,
feel like
take the wheel.
I really want to fuck around in a country music space too often, but
Yeah,
maybe post breakup.
Oh, it's the best.
Is really probably where country music shines.
Exactly.
I
That's
could
the only
see-
time.
Country music have beautiful lyrics.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
Not that I know too many, but I gotta sit here and say that.
I don't even know his last name. My mama would be so ashamed.
Is that what it say?
I know that I haven't known the last name of a lot of people I've slept with.
Well, I definitely don't know.
The last name? I
don't know their first name.
Are you like kidding me? So, yeah.
I just know whatever Grindr say they were. 1989 bussy.
Yeah. Hung for later. Yeah, it's a good time. So country music. Yeah,
Country music, basically. You go. I
And
can't.
what about you?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Han's a podcast girl.
I'm a podcast girly. I haven't
But
been
what
listening
song,
to
though?
too much. I know. What were we listening to in the car that I was like, this is good to scream right now? Was it Kendrick?
Oh yeah. Kendrick is a good. Just to
Which era of Kendrick?
Cry Together.
Cry Together is the one that we were.
Oh, is that the one where they're yelling at
screaming
each other?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I fucking love that song.
So
Yeah, that was the one
I
you
don't
liked.
hates
I,
it.
I don't know if
Like-
I don't know if it's because I'm toxic. I don't know what it is, but Cry Together, those two just
The combo.
oh my God. It's very good. It's very good art
Unhealthy.
form. It's, it's such a
Unhealthy.
good art form.
I am
It's
not fighting
so
with no
good.
man. I'm not doing that.
It's
I'm not doing
such-
that. And I actually felt we've had this conversation, but I felt the video was like. And I think we've had this conversation
We've talked
with
about
everyone in here.
No,
like I
I thought that
just
was
thought
so
it was too
good.
toxic. Like when he fought her and then he fucked her in the end.
We cry together.
Like,
Yeah, because
no.
everyone else is like, whatever.
Yeah, no.
that's what- you
I
know.
don't want that whole fight. I'm not fighting you and then bending over and you fucking me. That would never happen. I do not fight and fuck. I fight and leave. I promise you that.
Fight in therapy.
I've never fought someone and wanted to have sex with him after.
Never?
Absolutely. Please.
Okay.
It doesn't turn me on. Actually, like
I don't know if it
repellent.
turns me on, but it feels like it makes it better.
Okay.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm toxic. Actually, I've written a couple songs called like I'm toxic too. Like, like it's us. We're in this together.
So what is you? What is what song describes your life right now? Well, your current moment. Yeah, your life in this current moment.
I wrote I don't want to say it's so cliche to be like, it's a song that I wrote so
When you
recently
just
about
recently
me and
played
my life.
that I heard?
But
Okay.
realistically, so I wrote a Christmas song about like being like a little lonely in LA
Oh, yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, we heard you talk
And
about
like,
it.
yeah, and like that's really been like how I've been feeling for the last couple weeks. Like as being like just like from New York where it snows and like like my family is there and stuff and like I'm over here and I'm like, oh, like Christmas was kind of lonely, like this is a little different, like and the song is just kind of about that. So that realistically it's the song that I wrote a couple weeks ago, which is like, I don't know, cliche, but the truth happens.
Mine is any song from the Color Purple soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
I have listened to the Color Purple soundtrack all day, every day since Monday. So for the last 3 days.
It's Wednesday.
Okay, 3 days. It doesn't matter. It said in this moment. It don't matter what day it is. In this moment, this is my favorite song, nigga.
So
It's Wednesday.
everyone on the
So all of them. I
All
mean,
of 'em.
from top to bottom. It starts with Tamala Man, so it gives you gospel, it gives you blues, it gives you jazz.
Tamla Man yells a lot.
Don't do Take Me to the King.
She yells a lot. I
Okay.
like her. I see.
You will never see heaven, but go forth.
because I think Tamla Man yells a
You
lot.
won't. You won't. You won't.
She's a yeller.
You won't go to heaven, but go forth.
Because I think Tam is a yeller.
I'm not saying it again.
She's a screamer.
Okay. All right, next question.
I like screamers.
So this is the Pop-Tart question that I kind of opened up to, but I'm interested in. I was browsing through the Shade Room, and the Shade Room like unanimously said that brown sugar cinnamon is the best Pop-Tart.
You
So
would
my
agree?
question is, are they telling the truth? Is brown sugar cinnamon the best Pop-Tart to the three of you? Or tell me which one is your favorite Pop-Tart?
I think it's a Pop-Tart that, you know how when you eat a Pop-Tart, it tastes like a Pop-Tart. Not like
Yes.
food, not like
Yes.
anything else.
Yes.
I
Not a
feel like
real-
a
I
brown
love
sugar
that.
Pop-Tart tastes the closest to other varieties of food.
Right.
You're like, I'm
Right.
eating
Sure.
substance right
like
now.
Yeah, which is
But
not what
other
we're looking
Pop-Tarts,
for.
you're like, I am eating a Pop-Tart
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
Do you agree with that, Laela? Like, do you like the brown sugar?
No, I like the cookies and cream one.
I've never heard of that.
I warm them up. Do you guys warm up your Pop-Tarts or just dry?
I've had them warm. I haven't had a
had 'em
Pop-Tart in
warm,
a
but
They're
I
while.
really-
crunchy and dry.
I really want them dry, raw dog
Really?
it. Yeah.
It's too, you know.
Yeah, I'm a traditional Pop-Tart. Like I want strawberry. Actually, if realistically, if I'm really gonna like roll the dice, I want a blueberry Pop-Tart. I want a 2002 Pop-Tart. I don't want a new flavor of Pop-Tart.
Are you putting the
Like
Stuff on it?
stuff on it?
No,
like
that's
the
a
weed.
Schwitzel.
What was this?
What, do you
The
know what
syrup,
the
but
syrup?
not
No,
the syrup.
that's
No,
a
isn't that like
toaster
a toaster
strudel.
strudel?
Toaster
The
strudel.
toaster strudel.
Damn, what are y'all doing? No, it pushes. No, let's stay inside. Let's just close the door, and we'll just close it, and that'll be yeah, okay. Bang, it's okay. Alright, so we're inside. We are. So toaster strudel. No, not a toaster strudel. Pop-Tart, not a toaster strudel. I'm sorry, Chloe.
Do you guys remember when Pop-Tarts, before they became like the frosted on the outside, they were just like the regular Pop-Tarts? Were like plain?
I don't remember that.
Thank you. I appreciate that because he said that to me before, and I was like,
We've had this conversation
and I was like,
before.
what are you talking about?
A
What was
naked
it, dry
Pop-Tart?
naked Pop-Tart?
Pop-Tart. It was so negative. My mom would like put butter on them. She would put butter on them and then put them in like in the toaster, and then it'd come out like a little moist. It was just the feeling was all you had was whatever was in the inside.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was just a Florida thing. I don't know if that was just a good old Live-O thing. I know my daddy's listening. My dad told me today that he asked me what was the podcast name. I said, "Oh God, are you gonna listen to this?"
Late nights with Oko and Coco, Dad.
I gave him the wrong name. I said late night with Tu Wong Fu. Tu Wong Fu.
It's late nights with Oko and Coco streaming Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, bitch. Watch it because we're working so hard.
We are doing a lot.
So, Oko and I have been thinking about, like, we've been making the show for the last couple weeks. It's been a little over a month. This is episode 7.
Congrats. That's awesome.
And thank you so much. And since pretty much episode 1, maybe 2, have we been certain that we were going to address the Israel-Palestine war, conflict, genocide. It's evolving as the last couple weeks have gone on. And we had to cut something. I had to cut something out of episode 2 because we were like, we're going to address this, and then we weren't ready to because we needed some background. We needed some. There's a lot going on. We needed the history to kind of feel like, how do we go about approaching this topic correctly? And so we have 2 friends who we felt were going to give us more like perspective on what's going on. And we have our platform, however big or small as it is, that we wanted to, because that is Hannah and Laela while we're here, and they're being amazing, and yes, and I'm very excited to have some conversation. I'm gonna I kind of want to say what I know about the topic a little bit. Do you have something you'd want to say before that, though? Talk about the protest first.
I thought so. So let's do this. All right. So Saturday, all of us, was at a protest, which was a solidarity march between Black Lives Matter and the Palestinian community. It was in Beverly Hills. And I'll first say what I thought, and then we can all just chime in. I had went to other protests with you guys. Yeah. To me, this one was the most, you could feel the energy. It was like electric, but it wasn't like electrifying in a good way. It was like, it felt like a powder keg. I had no idea what way it was going to go. And the moment that I stepped foot, even before I met you guys, I could feel energetically. I said, oh, this one is a little different.
Did you feel it was going to go poorly? Or like there was a chance that it would go poorly?
Well, I knew something in the energy just felt, because I had been before, and it did not feel like that in downtown. It felt almost like a jubilation. It felt like we were just protesting, we were united. This one felt like energy where it was like, oof, I don't know what this is. So that was the first thing. That was my first thing. And then I would say that I also thought that I left there thinking of the other side. And I'm saying the other side just to paint it for our audience, the other side. So we were on one side, and then Zionists, I think that's fair to say, was on the other.
I think there were Zionists. I think...
Let me finish my thoughts.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I left there thinking that I don't know what the other side anger is. I don't know. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
No one was saying, I almost said a bad joke. I'm not going to do that. No one was saying this and this. It was just anger. And they were the ones that the cops were having to keep at bay. They were the ones that we could literally tell that they were like, do not cross. They were the ones that we actually saw cross and they took back. So I left there just thinking, okay, so October 7th happened. 1,200 people were killed. There are like 236, I believe, hostages, just to kind of lay it all out.
Currently or at the beginning?
Well, in the beginning. Okay. In the beginning. I don't know how many it is now. Or because I think they gave it was a swap or something.
Exchange, yeah.
So I just left there thinking that it felt more like, especially there was a moment where we witnessed at some point Black Lives Matter was up talking about George Floyd and saying the names, and we went to hearing the other side say White Lives Matter, and then that becomes a white thing.
Jewish Lives Matter.
Yeah, that's what I thought they said. That's
what
true.
they said. They said
Jewish Lives Matter. That's true. They were saying Jewish Lives Matter, but in my mind, all I'm hearing, because when you have to take away the black person saying Black Lives Matter in order for you to say Jewish Lives Matter, what exactly are you saying? So that was just really my thing. I left there really not knowing what their argument is outside of anti-Semitism is wrong. I know that, but I don't know anything else.
Did you hear them saying like
Move your microphone closer.
they were saying like, oh, Arabs are like notoriously like enslaved black people. I don't know how they chanted it, but that's what they were saying.
I'm not surprised.
I was like, my brother was like, is that what they're saying?
Right.
And yeah, and this other lady was like, yeah, and we're like, what the fuck?
And what were you guys? Or do you want to answer first, Corey? What were you guys' thought about Saturday? What were y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, I think so. I absolutely agree that the energy was very strange coming into it because we've been to protests it's been now 9 weeks. And we've been going pretty actively almost every weekend. And we've been with a similar group of friends, a similar group of supporters and allies. And it was difficult because we brought our father to the protest, and he's from the West Bank, and he was actually in Palestine when the war started. And so it's been everyone in our family always, of course, very activated about what's going on in Palestine. But this felt very intense. And I was so excited to bring him to a protest in LA because we have so many members of the community, so many supporters. And he was so excited. He's like, are any of your friends Palestinian? And I was like, no, they're just here to be with us. And he was like, it brought him so much joy. But the energy was very...
I was like the worst protest.
It was really rough because as we were walking, there were already people that were yelling. There were people that were ingrained in the crowd. They were walking through and they were yelling. And he was telling our friends, don't react to them. That's what they want. And then we were there for a couple more minutes, and he started getting activated. He started shouting because they were antagonizers. And I feel that part of it, I think, was because it was in Beverly Hills, which I think
I think that was
the
a
community.
Big part of it.
Yeah, that was huge. I also think,
which is huge on Jews and not huge on minorities.
That's the other part. I think we were seeing like a showcase of privilege. And I think that there was an even larger counter protest because there were Palestinian people and there were black people and there were their allies. And it was a group of people of color, systematically repressed people, minorities, and then a group of elderly white people across the street.
Particularly.
And one black man. And whoever you are, shame on you. Your mama don't even need to invite you to no more Sunday dinners. I'll never cook for him again. He would never eat my chicken again. I left there so upset with him.
Oh,
I'm not going to even get on Israel or Spike Lee. I'm not even doing it. Go for it.
Spike Lee.
Yeah. But it did have a very different energy. But I do want to acknowledge, like, the other protests that we've been to have been jubilation, joy.
Oh, incredible. Uniting. That was why it was so jarring for me. I was like, well, what the fuck am I at?
Yeah.
It was absolutely, it makes sense. I mean,
my general experience with protests are not very positive. Usually when there's a protest, there's cops, there's tear gas. I've gone to protests with gas masks. I've gone to protests cover it up. So generally protests are like negative. So this was the first protest. I got invited to one of the protests a couple of weeks ago, and I just didn't have the time. Uncle be late with shit sometimes. So like I wasn't. And so Oko invited us to go to a thing that Hannah threw yesterday and told me 15 minutes before we were supposed to be there. Okay? just for retrospect. So, and yesterday. And we were all there.
So wait, what is this? What Oko did?
But
so you taking this moment to do that?
So
interesting. I see how this show is going. Okay, you show your hand then.
We post. So
keep going.
Yesterday, no, not yesterday. We were at the event. I didn't know what to expect as far as the protest was concerned, and I thought it was generally like tame because of the experience I've had at protests that like have been like way more charged. Like I've had cops in my face. So I was like, oh, the cops are across the street. Like there's everyone's doing flags, there's music, everyone's playing. I was like, this is nice. Like I was like, and I'll input a little bit of footage here. Pause for some footage from the show. And see footage. and so like from the protest the other day. And just so it's interesting to hear that perspective as though like because I've just, and it was interesting with like we had like the older like Jewish people across the street who I generally thought I was like this is counter protest, like they had no plan to be here, they're here because they feel like they should be here because there's like all this group of people that and it was different. There were so many here. I mean, I know that when I see a bunch of old white people on one side of a fence and a bunch of people of color on the other side, I already know that either there's a side I need to be on or some research really needs to be done. For whatever reason, I don't think that. Like, let me double check. Like, because it was so stark. Like, and there was people of all the colors and all of the and everything on the pro-Palestinian side.
That's what I noticed. One thing I want to shout out. Like, I really enjoyed how, and this was also evident at the other protests that I've been to with you guys, like our side, and I hate that ideal of their side versus our side, but it's the only language that I have. So this is just me saying this. I don't know what us versus them is, but I do know how I can talk about it for myself. So I like that our side, it was every walks of life. It was every walks of life. There were children, there were Asian, there were Black, there were white, there were indigenous, because to me, and I've said this to Corey, I've said this to everyone in this room probably, to me, this is not a what about conversation. It's not. It's just not a what about conversation for me personally. So I battle with what that means for me, like when I hear or when I see the other side so angry. And by the way, when I tell you I've had to like delete some people on Instagram.
Oh my God.
Because the Zionists are out. They are out. And they're saying very cruel things. And it's like, oh, I don't like you that much. Bye. Good to know you.
Sure.
It's like, it's a very ugly, ugly time.
Yeah.
And it is also a very like powerful time because I also thought observing your father as your friends. I remember like saying to Corey, I said, oh, because you guys never leave early. So I knew something was different.
Yeah.
But I also know from a lived experience that when I have to go to those George Floyd protests in 2020, that shit was not easy for me. It wasn't like, and seeing the cops with tear gas and shields was not easy. So I think that that's the thing about this conversation is that, and that's why I think the cops were there really, because they got word, because they always following the Black Lives Matter movement, that the niggas and the Palestinians was coming together on a Saturday. Get your ass to Beverly Hills.
And the Jews were going to be tight.
Yes, get your ass to Beverly Hills. But on the flip side, I don't think they thought they was going to have to arrest them.
I know, that was
That's the part that is so, it's like the niggas wasn't bucking.
Those cops were there on that side the whole time. There were
whole
no
time.
cops. There were really no cops over there.
Because we weren't doing anything.
No.
By the way, kudos to Black Lives Matter LA, because I will say, and we are witnesses of this, they spent every time at that mic trying to squelch, trying to let people know that do not react. And I think that is what it is being Black in this country in particular, where you always are being told that you're ready to knuck and buck. where you're always being told that you're angry, and you could tell that even the fine one that you like, I'm not gonna say his name, little Black Lives
I don't know
Matter
his name, but
man.
he was fine as fuck.
I know his
DM me,
name,
sir.
but little Black Lives Matter man, he was doing his best to
He
calm
was
it
fine.
down.
He was Blatino.
Bloodtino.
DM me,
He had some
sir.
kinky in his hair. He was got some black in him too.
Yeah, Blatino.
Blah.
He was cute.
He was cute. Yeah, he was cute. So that's that. Is that it?
No. So talk to us about. So what I want to use is our time that we're here is to tell us your perspectives of what's going on, and I want to do some listening, and then I want to tell you the perspectives of what it is that I know to be going on, and then I want you to fact check that.
Cool.
Because my general perspective is that a lot of people in my circles I don't feel necessarily know everything that's going on. They're like, I know there's a war. I know that there's some conflict. I know that there's a couple things. Cause actually, let me say this before you start. I have never taken the time to separate whiteness. I don't do that because white people do not separate blackness. They're like, oh, I'm Polish, oh, I'm French, oh, I'm German. They're like, what are you? They're like, oh, I'm black. They're like, well, then no one cares where. No one cares the diaspora. No one gives a shit. So I do not dissect whiteness.
Yeah.
I don't do that. If when the cops pull you over, your heart doesn't start to race, we're a different group. Okay? And I know a lot of black people like that who just don't have time for this dissection. And so when it comes to like white people versus Jewish white people versus whatever different sects of white people, it is just whiteness.
Yeah.
So I don't always get it. You know what I'm saying? Like the differences between what's going on.
Yes. So what exactly is is the context of what's going on in Palestine?
Of course. Laela, I'll let you answer that question, but I do want to say, I know Laela kind of made a silly joke about it when we first got on, like we are sharing our perspectives, as like we grew up in Utah, we grew up in Salt Lake. Our father's an immigrant, he's from the West Bank, he's from Nablus, he's from Borca, that's his village. And we have been actively listening and actively learning our entire lives. Yeah. But I will say that this time is very different. So we're learning more and learning together. And I want to state like anything that we say is through our filter or our opinion. Yeah. And I know that it's a very nuanced conversation, and it's so difficult to. It's one of those topics that is like you feel scared to talk about it because you don't want to offend anybody, and you have to take in so much information so that you can like make it make sense. But really, when it comes down to it, like you were saying, Oko, it's especially at the point that we're at now, this is no longer like I don't believe it was ever a religious situation, but it's now we're in like territory of we're in a humanitarian crisis.
Absolutely.
And then I know I veered us off, but I'll let you give some context for.
Can I say one little thing I read? I just heard, and it just made it more like, what are we doing in this world? They're saying that by February,
oh boy,
it would be like famine, like.
Yeah, it's already, and that was, and we can touch on it in a moment, but like. What's happening in Gaza, what's happening in the enclave, before what's currently happening, 80% of individuals living in Gaza were dependent on humanitarian aid. This is the highest concentration of humans in one area, and they were already poverty-stricken. Their access to basic human needs was limited. It's controlled by the Israeli government, and it has been since 2016, the year before Hamas was elected into government. But we're seeing a genocide that's occurring, and a horrific humanitarian situation where people are starving, people aren't getting access to clean water, medication, the hospitals are in shambles. But it's not so drastically different than what was happening before the war.
Right.
It has been difficult to live in Gaza for a long time. It was termed open air prison many years ago by the Human Rights Group. I'm not quoting that or citing that correctly, but it has not always, it's been a difficult place to be a person for a long time.
Yeah.
But for context, October 7th.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like what happened
Yeah.
basically, or what? From my experience, what do you
No,
think?
what happened? Like set us up for October 7th, because I know that for me, just
Oh,
love
I
you,
love
honey.
you. Bye, baby.
Good to see you.
Give
Bye,
NC a kiss for
kid.
us.
Gosh, okay, so yeah, like Han was saying, it's all, just speaking from our own experiences, and it's been really hard for me to speak on anything, like, because I do fear, like, not knowing enough. And so, like, when October 7th happened and the Hamas, like, massacre, I don't remember what they called it, but first happened, it was just, like, chaos, of course. Like,
Well, they're calling it a terrorist attack.
yeah, which, I mean...
Is that the wrong word, you think?
I don't know if I think that's inappropriate. 1,200, however many people they...
Yeah.
I think that's a
1,200,
terrorist attack.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that it was definitely like a terrorist attack, and I encourage like people that support Palestine to like really like look into, like, it's easy to be like, that didn't happen, that's not true. Like the way that they like blew everything out of proportion. Like, I mean, that's a hard thing to say, even that, because 1,200 people still died, and those are real people. It's easy to like disconnect and be like, well, they were on stolen land. Like, it's just like, from the Palestinian perspective, it's hard to like be like, damn, that was fucked up. Like that actually, like, but it was like, I encourage all people that support Palestine to really look into like the side of like seeing why the Israelis are so upset, because that was one of the things that like Oko said, like the protesters across the street, like, what are you doing here? Like, why, like, people are dying. Why are you on this? Like, and it's just like, okay, it's easy to dismiss people when you see like the discrepancy, because of course so many more Palestinians are dying now. Yeah. But it's just like,
aren't we at like 20,000 plus?
Over
21,
20,000,
yeah. 21,000.
21,000.
But I think because...
Yeah, I veered.
No,
What were you?
no, you're good. I think so on October 7th, there was an attack. I think the problem with calling it a surprise attack, that branding, naming, because that takes away the fact that this is an area that has been in conflict and an active war zone since the Nakba. Like, there's been violence in the area since the Nakba in 1947, where Palestinians were initially removed from their homes and had to relocate. But it
750,000. That's what I read.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
750,000.
Yeah, and that was when our grandmother was relocated.
Yeah.
Hamas is a political party?
Yeah.
Hamas is a political party. In 2007, it was the elected government in Gaza. There are different areas. There's Gaza and there's the West Bank. The West Bank is governed by the PA, the Palestinian Authority.
Yeah.
And then Gaza, the enclave that's undergoing genocide currently, is governed by Hamas. And that in 2007, that was the last free election that was had. And when they were running under less radicalized, like a less radicalized political voice. How would you say?
Yeah.
And it's become increasingly radicalized, but there's also this you'll hear the propaganda from the other side that we're saying free Palestine from Hamas, like, and that is branding Hamas as like a terrorist organization. Well, that's what you hear. Like, the association when you hear Hamas is that it's a terrorist organization.
My general takeaway from Hamas has been that it is a terrorist organization, almost like a gang. Like, that is not the political party in power, but is
like came to power, stolen power.
That is, almost giving like, what is it? Like these and it's the way that things are given in media. But generally, that's the takeaway has been that this is like some like sect of people that is not the general
Public.
Yeah, that's not the general public, but it is a political party.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they are a political the elected ruling political party.
Okay.
And
the last election being in 2007. Interesting.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of people like you'll see, because I go on like a lot of like pro-Israel like pages and stuff like that, and they'll say like, oh, you support Hamas, like you support like women not being able to like drive, women not being able to like not wear a scarf, and it's just like these things are not true. Like the main goal, oh my gosh, I'm sounding like, you know, like they say like, oh, you're a terrorist supporter, but like Hamas is not like, it's a, what did you call it?
A political
It's a political party.
Well, I've even read where people describe it as a liberation party.
Exactly.
Freedom fighter.
So I think that, as we got to clap, I think that two things can be true. I think that if we're going to give space for those who say that it is a terrorist organization, we also must give space for those who say that it's liberating them.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do both things.
Absolutely.
Personally. Oh, that's what I think. But I also, I'm interested in this question. What's currently happening in the West Bank? Because this could sound stupid, but explain to me the difference between Gaza and the West Bank.
Yeah, of course. So
Is that real dumb?
no.
No,
Oh
that's
my
a great
gosh, that's an
question.
excellent
Most of my arguments just realize, oh, Oko ain't smart.
No, you're perfect.
As a
dumb.
Palestinian, even it took me a long time to like
Got it.
realize things like that, because
I
it's
don't
so
know.
sad. You don't want to learn. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
You avoid like learning anything.
Right.
So like it's really not. I think a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
I think I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I agree with that. Gaza is the enclave that's bordering occupied Palestine, Israel, and Egypt. It's a tiny bit of land, basically in the corner of Palestine. They have a different government, Hamas, and then the West Bank is a different sectioned off area that includes a number of cities, Nablus. I'm gonna also sound like a ding dong, not being able to name other cities, but there's an area where many other Palestinian people are living, and that is governed by the Palestinian Authority.
Yeah.
And in those areas, what is happening is there are illegal settlements of Zionists that are encroaching on the area. The West Bank is for Palestinians. When it was divided, there was supposed to be an area for Jews to have as their safe space and an area for Palestinians.
Divided in 1948.
Yep. In 47?
I think so.
And that was the first Nakba where it was separated.
Yeah.
And the first relocation of Palestinians took place. In the West Bank, there are illegal Israeli settlements of Israelis that are living in Palestinian territory that is supposed to be only for Palestinians. And they are building homes, building things, but like taking the property that isn't
American Jews too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been reading I read it because I have been, since October 7th, I've been very interested in this. So not since October 7th, but so October 7th was also the day that I buried my grandmother. So I can remember like not knowing what was going on. And me and my mom, 2 days after burying her mother, my grandmother, we were sitting on the TV. And I'll never forget this moment. And we saw the bombs and we saw everything. And I wasn't talking to no one because I had just trying to make it through life. And I remember looking at TV and we said, what is going on? And just like without even saying it, we knew what side we was on. My mom said, oh, okay. Because that's what it is to be black in America. Because you know who the oppressor is. When you see brown people covered in blood and then at that time, to be fair, it hadn't gotten to this point. So I do want to like clarify that it wasn't what it is now.
Yeah.
But I also wonder though about October 7th, like, because to the protest that we all went to, we did see people with like the hostages photos. And that's the one, I imagine that's the one thing that one can say is really a problem for like Jewish people. Like there are like 200 plus or maybe 100 plus people that are still being held captive. Now that does not mean that you kill 20,000 majority Palestinian women and children. Nothing rectifies that. Nothing makes sense about that. But I wonder, is that like part of like some of the righteousness to it? Because that's what I'm finding about Zionism, is that it's fucking righteous. It is true righteous anger. It isn't just anger. It's like, how dare you? Like I've heard people say things like, we won't forget how you guys have overlooked or turned your back on the Jewish community.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's so frustrating because it's such a hard line to like try not to cross, because of course anything can be taken as like anti-Semitism when you're trying to be like pro-Palestinian and like being like having conversations. And I've been like trying to learn so much from like the Israeli perspective. And
Are you?
yeah, I like when
I
it
love
first,
that. That's interesting.
it's hard. I mean, of course, no, not that. I mean, it's really, I spent a lot of time on Instagram because, okay, so I follow Jerry Seinfeld's wife. And when I first started following her, all my
What's
friends,
her name?
Jessica Seinfeld.
Oh.
She was after
Jerry and Jessica.
Listen, I literally, all my friends were like, Jerry Seinfeld's a Zionist. Jerry Seinfeld's a Zionist. I'm like, no, guys, I love him. Don't say that.
A lot of these people are Zionists.
They're coming out of like, it's just like so devastating.
Dorit from the Housewives? Raging Zionists.
It's infuriating. But anyways, I started following her, and I remember really liking her because she, like during Black Lives Matter, she was posting, and it was crazy to see the people in her comments like, how could you do this? The Jewish people have gone through this. Like, people mad at her for talking about Black Lives Matter. So
I generally thought when we were looking at that protest the other day that the people, and that's crossed my mind many times, that the people across the street were very not on any part of a Black Lives Matter movement.
No, well, they would be over there with us.
That's what I thought.
percent.
That was generally like.
But that's how, it's like a weird thing.
And they
It's
probably
like,
was at George Floyd.
And I thought that specifically, like
Yeah.
these people really were the ones having problems with Black Lives Matter movements and being mad that their hairdressers were not, working during COVID.
Did you say hairdressing?
Yeah.
1,000%.
Go get my color done.
But I do think to acknowledge the statement that you made about the hostages, I think that is it's a very difficult, like, it's almost like you were saying, like, it can be a political party as well as like a freedom fighter, as well as being termed a terrorist organization. But it is like, it's a hard piece of information to have and know that I think it is desperation. And it was an act of desperation, I think, and that doesn't make it okay. Like, that does not justify it.
Right.
I don't agree with it. But I think the intention, or potentially like the outcome that they thought would happen, would be that the lives that they captured will be valued enough to like make change in the movement, to like push things forward. A hostage swap.
Yeah.
The Palestinian captives that are imprisoned and without cause, never charged, many of whom are in the West Bank that are undergoing children, unable to protect themselves, to have, I don't know, fully formed thoughts about the situation.
Their frontal lobe is not developed.
I know, but it's just, I do want to say, like, none of what I think we're saying, what anybody in this room is saying, is that that's okay. It's just that it's a horrible situation, but it also does not justify the brutal murder of over 21,000 people. And I'm sorry, Corey, go.
Finish your thought, though.
I think too that I was talking about from very early on, maybe on the 9th, I was discussing with a friend the kind of the powerlessness and the sadness that we were feeling, because he's a Jewish man, and he was saying, I'm just so sad for what's going to come, because this is going to be an opportunity for erasure. Like it's going to be a justified opportunity for Zionists to say, look, we have to protect ourselves against these people. And now it's justified. The eradication is justified.
Which is what's happening.
Gaza's okay. Gaza and Palestine are one area.
Palestine is the original. It's the original piece of land, like that crescent, this shape. This
Original
crescent.
being like how old?
It's like the state. What is it called?
Because there's it's like I know of like Gaza, Palestine, Israel problems dating back to 48 when the war came out. I was like, okay, I need to educate myself because again, I do not give myself, I do not separate whiteness. I have given this no energy, but now let me give it a little bit of energy. And so I do my bit of research. I'm like, okay, so, and my general takeaway was this, that World War II happened, Jews, Hitler, the global response to that was to
Give them a place.
give them a place. Also, the reason that the Holocaust was able to happen was there was no like U.S. essentially surveillance state in the Middle East. There was none. So, and as the U.S. does, they set up a surveillance state and input a leader, which is Israel. And then here, this is for the Jewish state, as you know, what's the word? Reparations for the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Here's the Jewish state. Now we also have a U.S. ally, a U.S. surveillance state in the Middle East, and now we can so now 75 years later, the U.S. has a vested interest in this is now oil and all these other things have become much larger players in the global economy. The U.S. has a weighted interest in Israel's proclivity, and that's how we are where we are now.
Yeah.
That's generally what I know to be the case from what I researched.
I think that's true.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Now, I was talking with some other people, and they were talking about the Israel-Palestine thing goes back further.
Much further, yeah.
Much further than the last 75 years. So when it comes to, and then, so part of my thing is like, okay, so when is it, how old does something have to be for us to like need to get over it?
Who though?
Depends on what we're
You-
getting
oh,
over
you're
and who
talking
we're
about, like,
talking
in
to.
general.
In general. So like, 75 years ago, like my grandmother's 75. She here right now. So there are people who are pre the annexation or, what's it called when you move people out? Like
Displacement yeah.
of other people. There's people who have been around since before that, and then displacement of these concepts, right?
Yeah.
And then but then there's like these, they'll talk about like almost like biblical things of Israel and Gaza, which I did not give myself the time or energy to go back to decipher the whiteness of those moments. I did not.
I think this is just my perspective, but I think that to have a conception, because there's this theory that like there is rightful ownership, biblical and historical rightful ownership by both parties.
Way older than the 75 years.
Way older than 75 years. I think the way prior to this event, this is a huge generalization, what I'm about to say, but like the way that I would talk about it with friends who had never really been having a conversation about Palestine and Israel, I say Israel was given to the Jewish people even though there were people in it. It's like what America did with their indigenous population.
And tens of other nations populations.
And they just said, this is yours, when there were already people there. And then that inherently creates issues. And I think, but to have this discussion now, I think it's like you're saying, there needs to be, I hope I don't sound ignorant, there needs to be some like level setting of like, okay, we just need to pick a time that we're going to like not restart. But it's hard when our grandparents, our family members, we still have family members in the West Bank, still there, and they're the people that are being impacted by the current erasure.
Of course.
So it's a hard, but it is, I think that like if you want to, I think the reason that people are like, this is so complex. I don't really know what's going on. Is because you can say 75 years ago, you can say 100 years ago, you can say 1,000 years ago, and you'll get different ownership, different versions.
Yes.
But I think what is important is to say that there's always been not, and I don't want this to seem like it's a religious thing, but there's always been Muslims, Christians, and Jews in the area at peace, living at peace. And it's a historically and religiously important area to all of those cultures.
Yes.
And I think that, I don't want to say like I have a solution, but I feel like the future solution will be acknowledgement that this area is valued by many people, and your ethnicity does not impact like the value on that. Like there's Palestinian Christians, Palestinian Muslims, Palestinian Jews that are there, and they value that area. And that is not to say that it is not important to Jewish people as well. And a solution to whatever that looks like in the future that will be true. It'll be important.
Right. It's also, I think, worth saying like coexist is one thing, but where you are trying to erase people is another. And I think that that's what we're seeing.
Absolutely.
We're not just seeing we're not seeing nothing about coexisting. We're seeing like an ethnic cleansing. I mean, when you get to telling people to leave their homes, go here, only for you to also bomb there, that becomes something else.
Absolutely.
That's not just that becomes something else. But just to kind of, because I realize we've been talking a while, I want to just get to the current political climate right now. And one thing that I do, because me and Corey have had too many conversations for me not to talk about this. I saw a poster on Saturday that said, Biden will remember come November. That's what it said. Biden will remember come November. So my question is, how do you guys think that this and Biden's actions or inactions, because he's active for some, he's inactive for others. What do you guys think politically this would do for the upcoming election? And you can also say too, Corey.
Oh, I can talk on my own show?
Yeah, well, I'm saying it in the sense that, like,
I didn't know.
Because I was only talking to them. Go on.
So, I mean, personally,
but let them answer first, though.
Personally, I think that if that the option that is like the opposite of Biden, which we live in America with this two-party system. So generally, like, it's like your options are Biden or like Trump. Well, Biden or like, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Biden or fucking Kari Lake, Biden or fucking any of these like very mediocre fucking options, Boebert, whatever. And so Manchin, you know what I'm saying? Like, if those are your choices, Biden is still the option that probably, if your hope is to, bring peace to the Middle East, realistically, you're probably going to have a better vote moving towards Biden versus moving towards the other option with this Trump. You can throw your vote away and, I'm sorry, I'm drunk. You can throw your vote away and vote for Jill Stein, but like, that's a waste of fucking time. So yeah, so like, it's like, do I think that people are unhappy with the way that Joe is handling the situation? For sure. Yeah. Are the people who give a shit aware of the fact that Joe's a better option than Trump or Ron DeFucking-Santis? Well, I think they're also aware of that. That's my personal take on this situation.
All right, what do you guys think will happen?
We were talking about it a little bit earlier, and we were talking about how it always feels like in that situation you're doing the like lesser of two evils math.
Certainly.
Yeah. And
the two-party system.
Yeah, the two-party system. And then we were discussing how it just sucks because it's always like it feels like usually there's like, this is like true evil and this is theoretical evil. And now in this time it feels like so, especially when it's like so personal, when you're like, oh, you really don't care. You actively are saying like, we support you.
Yeah.
And it is devastating. But I think, and I know we've talked about this, Oko, how we share like just like how there is the communities that stand with each other. I think as members of groups who have been let down by the government, you are very in the know of like, I cannot rely on you. I trust that you will this will be the path of least resistance. And it's a lot of like, I don't want to do this, but like to not throw away my vote, I might stick with Biden. I hope that there's
Trump is not a better option.
No.
This
It's
is the worst option.
But
not voting is the worst option because those old Republicans vote.
Yeah, I think it just feels so reckless. It feels so reckless on his behalf to like splinter at this time.
You mean Biden?
Yeah,
I think so too.
To create such hostility within the party. And we were talking about how it's like Palestine. It feels like there's so many issues that like people that are like in the know, that are like woke, like that are agree upon. But then when you loop in Palestine to that discussion, it gets the deviations occur.
I think that's because of like we live in like a post PC society, because PC rolled around like in 2015, 16 and really like shook it up a bit in a way that I was not used to. And so now in this post PC society, people feel like they can't say anything, and that's fair because we have Harvard deans who are being told that they're racist, and we have black woman Harvard deans being told that they're racist, the least racist people on the planet. You have people who you live in this time where white people feel need to tell me what I can and cannot say. Crazy. And like, so in this like this post PC time, this like very everything is everything, and you know we're very like touchy, and this is inappropriate and this is inappropriate. Like I'm very anti PC, and I've said this before. So like in general, like in maybe I haven't said this on the podcast before, but like usually like when we get to like this PC culture, we get to the place where people can't have conversations. Yeah. People cannot debate the things that are questionable or that are wrong. And right now we've got a bunch of white people claiming that they're, let me think about this really carefully. We've got a bunch of people, we've got Amy Schumer's
goddamn
claiming, you know, prejudice and claiming racism. And while Amy Schumer might be experiencing some version of that word choice, for me, a gay black man who experiences racial and regular prejudice on a day-to-day basis, no bitch, this is not fair. We're not going to use these same terms to describe us. And so I think that for me, you got like, you know, the things that are happening to Jewish people. I don't dissect whiteness, and I don't do that. And I'm not going to start fucking doing that. I'm not going to start. Please understand that. I'm not going to start. But if you have you know, racism against Jews is a problem. But racism against people of all these other places is also a thing. That's why I asked, like, and I think I asked, I'm a little drunk again. I feel like in Palestine, or the Gazans or the people in the Gaza Strip, the black people there, because as I've gotten older, I just keep seeing more instances of colorism and like anti-blackness is actually what the fuck I'm seeing. When it actually all boils down, the Gazans are darker. The Uyghurs in China are darker. The black people are darker.
Told us that
the Indians are darker.
Andre 3000 told us that Andre 3000 told us that that the dark people suffer the most, like, across all regions.
Across all of it. Like,
right.
if in your circles, if in your lifestyle, you are the darker ones, I see general struggle across the diaspora, across the planet. The darker people are struggling. So I'd be like, so when I boil it all down and I look over at Gaza and I look over at Israelis, I see darker people and lighter people.
That's fair.
That's what I see.
That's fair. Laela, I want to know your thoughts about the upcoming election.
Well, it's really hard. I know I've been thinking about it a lot too, because it's kind of something that felt so easy before. Like, obviously, we don't vote for Trump.
You remember when Barack was president? And it was so chill. Not to cut you off, just like, you remember?
Even then,
I have to inject levity every once in a while.
Is that what you're doing?
That is a part of my job. Because Oka will have us up in here on an HBO special about Michael
bringing
Jackson.
So much excitement right now. Finish, Laela. Please finish. I want to wrap this shit up. I'm over him. It's time.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm
nigga.
going to do, honestly. But it's amazing to see that I'm actually taking time to read and learn, which is something that I never really do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, oh my God, like I have to like actually think about this stuff, which is such a privilege before. And so now I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. You know?
I don't either. And I
You
think
know?
that that's fair. I think that we all should say our opinions. I will say this. And I've said this before. As of current,
I feel like you cut her off. You know,
no,
No,
I'm
no,
agreeing with her.
go.
I'm agreeing with her.
So someone,
Corey, hush.
the studio audience laughed. Go ahead.
Who laughed? No one here did.
No one here. That's fine.
No, okay.
It's okay.
I agree with you. I actually will say that this is the first time, and I have worked for the Democratic Party every election since I was 22.
Wow.
This was the first time that I will not, from right now, as of today, I will not be voting. Because for me, this is a turning point. And I am actually to the point to where I don't want to vote for the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
And whatever that
exactly.
means. But I also think that it is important that we collectively, as a unit, as a podcast, give that, because I know that when I say that, I can at least say 20 people who are also not voting, because for some of us, this is a turning point.
Yeah.
And when I hear that 20,000 people are dead, and when I hear that a fucking president will not say ceasefire, or
Exactly.
he will not move, he will not move, and he is moving slowly. For me, I don't vote for that. I don't vote for that. And I am Black. So I'll figure out. Black people have been at the bottom, and we have still figured it out. So I think, wait. So I think that for me, that is actually, that's important. It's just giving this perspective of the person who, as of now, not the idea that it may not change, because it might. Just as of now, it is giving the perspective of the person who's saying that, you know what, you're not getting my vote because of your actions. That's it.
Yeah.
So for you two, who I would assume would prefer that the war is ended.
Yeah.
Safe
Safe.
assumption.
Safe
Yep.
assumption. Okay. What does that perspective make you think? Only because I spend a lot of time, like, I think about voting and the power that it has, or that it doesn't. Or that like what happens when you stay away from the polls, or when you throw away your vote as an educated or a current person. Let's go with that. What does the concept that I won't vote make you feel like? Do you feel like that is that pro your cause or inherently against it? That's my question.
I think one of the things that it brings to my attention, this is a bit of a tangent, but I think one of the things when you invited us to come speak, again, I'm so grateful for, I wanted to highlight was that this movement has been so powerless. The last few months have been just a feeling of powerlessness. I can't do anything.
Is that how
I'm
you
here.
feel? Yeah.
I have so much privilege. I'm safe. I'm here. A majority of our close family members are here. And I have signed all of the petitions. I have donated. I am part of a leadership group of Middle Eastern and North African individuals at my workplace. I'm doing the things that if you Google how to help Palestine on the checklist, like
Sure.
The thing that I feel like is different about this time is the acknowledgement that, like, just like in other movements of resistance, especially ones that we've seen in the last couple of years, like this is something that I think will be handled outside of governing bodies, at least in my...
Most things are.
Yeah. I think in my, like, I want to believe that my vote is going to do something, but it has shown time and time again that is not the case. And I respect...
As a Californian.
Yeah. I respect that by not, that is a statement, and that is a valid statement. And I think that this time is different in that I am seeking a lot of solace in my community and the groups that we've been participating in, the protests that we've been participating in, the conversations that we've been participating in, and trusting that, because it is like you're saying, the U.S. is invested in Israel's success in the region. And I don't think that any leadership change will shift the dynamic there. It is important to them financially to be a leader in that area, and the state of Israel has allowed them that opportunity.
Maybe arguably also for the like safety of like the U.S.
Yeah,
possibly.
And I think that all of that is to say, like, I respect how anybody is dealing with anything. And I don't know what the solution is, unfortunately. And what feels good for me right now is being with people that I love, being in safe spaces, having these conversations and waiting, like hearing other people's experience, strength, and hope.
Amen.
Like what has worked for y'all? What, like in the movements of resistance that we've gotten to participate in the last 3 years, like tell me what we're out.
The last 3 years, like George Floyd and
Palestine, Asian hate, and everything that indigenous communities have been going through. Like, I just want to hear forever. Like, tell me what worked in your communities and let me try that. And if it's not voting, like, let's not.
Yeah. What do you guys think though? Because it feels like you are pro vote. You're kind of like don't vote.
I'm very pro vote. I remember like when Obama was president. And I went to school at like a weird time, like from 16 to 20. So like I voted for Obama like this. Did I even vote for Obama the second time? I don't think I did. My first election, I think that I could vote in. Like I just missed the Obama election cutoff by like a couple months. My birthday was in January and the election was in November. And so, and what I saw when I like not voting to me leads to the worst of two evils, because older white people vote, and I don't agree with older white people.
Amen.
I really don't. That was the big warning flag for me when like this whole war started. I was like, oh word, like I don't agree with the Republicans over abortion, over insurance, over healthcare, over taxes, over nothing. I agree with these dudes over nothing. And all of these white people are on the side of all of these white people are on the same one side. I need to look into that side.
It's really interesting that you say that though, like because Obama, it's like a thing that's like historically whatever. A fun
so
fact
long
to him.
ago.
It was a long time ago, but a lot of Muslim people, like a crazy amount of Muslim people, were killed under Obama's like.
True.
Sure.
And Obama gave the biggest. This is in this book. I just wrote it down. He gave $38 billion to Israel, which was at the time the biggest. Not at the time, still today, it's the biggest exchange of gift from from nations, from countries. So I do think that America has its part into what you said, Hannah, about Israel being something. I would say that. So yeah,
America propped up Israel. That's how.
That's very true.
That's how that happened.
That's very true.
That is the historical significance. Israel starts like its papers go on the book in 48. Like that's when Israel pops up. That is at the end of World War II, and it is a very like you're like, oh, like click that maths. You know.
But obviously, like to have a president like Obama, like it was good it felt like a change. It felt like good for everybody. But like,
and arguably was,
and it was, 1000%. Like I would take Obama over, like anybody any day. But it's just
anybody
like,
we've had,
exactly.
Trump, Biden, for sure, absolutely.
So that's like it's hard because it's like what difference does it make when we vote? But like as you're saying, like I don't know, it felt like such a win, when Trump lost for everybody.
It did feel like that.
So now, what's it gonna feel like? What's a win gonna be like?
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank
you guys for coming.
Means the world.
Thank you guys.
We hope that we answered some of your questions about how like the Israel-Palestine things are going on, how some of these things play into like the global conflicts of colorism, of
anti-blackness,
of some of the many ways that like these things all kind of are like intertwined. It's the new year, y'all. And so we're doing funny things. We're doing things that are a little more topical. It's a good time. Thank you.
Thank you guys. It is always nice to have our friends who share conversation, and we hash it out together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important. I think that what we did here is important because it allows us to have the conversation where you hear people talk about things with like ambivalence and nuance and also trepidation. Because that's what the truth is. Sometimes it is like, oh, I don't always know what I'm saying, but I'm going to say it, honey. Because that's what you do. So, all right. Thank you, guys.
Thank
you.
you.
We
Thank
love
you
y'all.
guys.
Till
Thank
then.
you.
All right.
Good night.
Bang.
Good
Night, y'all.
Yes. All right. She said she's ready to go home.
That was great. Chloe said it's 10:30.